Right then, this is a quick walk around video, for a really handsome looking car. This is a Honda Civic 1.6 SR Tourer. I finished in this lovely metallic grey, as you can see. This car's covered 74,000 miles. Been very well looked after, I have to say. Very clean car for the age of mileage. It's getting a little bit late in the day now. Lovely timelines, I must admit, but there we are. Wonderful sunset. But so I apologise if it's a bit darker than it ordinarily would be. Front of the car, lights and lenses are clear, intact, no cracks or condensation there. Bonnet exceptionally clean for the age and mileage of the car. Near side of the vehicle, absolutely lovely in the panels in terms of indentations. I can't see anything obvious on there at all. Near side front alloy, really good. Just had a brand new set of front tyres fitted to the car as well, by the way. Near side rear, again, absolutely fantastic. My favourite angle for these Tourers from this angle here. I think it's just one of these estates that it looks best in this configuration. It really does. Really handsome. Go around the back, again, very clean and tidy. Around to the offside, again, absolutely lovely and clean in the panel work. Offside rear alloy, exceptionally clean. The remaining panels are really good. I mean, there's obviously the odd sort of light microscopic mark and just a little brush mark here or there, but I mean, in all honesty, for a car of that age of mileage, that's in lovely condition. Coming to the back of the car now, absolutely cavernous in the back, and it's all beautifully finished. Coming to the back of the car, wide opening rear doors, coming inside, and the leatherwork is in absolutely beautiful condition. And that honestly isn't always the case with Civics, because they are a family car, so they can be very heavily used. This one's been kept absolutely beautifully. Coming to the front and the passenger side, again, all really clean and tidy. Footwell area is lovely and clean, and the passenger seat there, hardly been used at all. It's coming in on the driver's side, door card, again, absolutely lovely and clean. Footwell area is, again, beautiful. And driver's seat, the one that should show a lot of wear, hardly shows anything. So inside the car now, engine's running for this section as always, so the dash can be seen illuminated. Sorry, it's going to be a bit glary because it's getting a bit later, but you can clearly see. It's very bright indeed. Sat nav working perfectly. Put the car into reverse. Get that lovely clear gridded parking camera, but it is in absolutely fantastic condition in here. Then up to the mileage there, 74,019 miles. There are no warning lights on the dashboard, and as a driver, that's the view you get. I mean, that to me still remains the best driver in cockpit anywhere in this class, or the class above for that matter. Finally, just to show you, owner's manual pack and lock and wheel nut key are both here and present with the car. Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda Civic 1.6 SR diesel. This particular car is registered RV65, if I can read my writing, LVD or LUD, I do apologise, it's one or the other, and mileage of 73,992 miles. The reason we do all of our videos is very simple indeed. It's to ensure that if anyone is looking at our cars online, they actually get to see the car we're advertising in operation. And the reason, as always, that we feel it's important is because we have been to see so many cars over the years which have looked perfectly good in descriptions and photographs, only to get there and find out there's been a fundamental problem that shows up whilst driving the car, so hence that's why we do it. We also do it on these very quiet country roads, very close to our premises. This actually forms part of the road test route we take our customers on. Reason for that is obvious. Hopefully then it'd be representative of what you'd feel yourself should you be offered a test drive in the car. So coming to the car, engine starts first turn of the key, as you'd expect of any Honda. There are no warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge is currently cold, because I'd like, when I possibly can, to do the videos where the cars are hot and cold, because obviously different issues can manifest themselves at different temperatures, so hence that's why we do it that way. The engines are superb diesel engines, absolutely superb. They're what you'd hope and expect for any Honda car, in the sense that they are, it's just the parking sensors going off, by the way. Yeah, it's incredibly reliable and long lasting with just normal regular maintenance. But they're also an engine, because not all diesels, you know, get even close to their manufacturer's claimed figures, and yet economy genuinely comes relatively easily to the Civic. You don't have to drive them carefully rather. If you just smooth with them and change where the gear prompt tells you to, use the eco or the eco lights and that kind of stuff. I mean, I've owned a number of these, and doing my short trips, which isn't the greatest for any cars, I tended to get about 60-ish to the gallon. Longer trips would be between 65 and 70 relatively easily, but of course economy is down to how you drive them and of course where you're driving them as well. But it is a particularly economical engine. It's also an engine that's lovely to use day in, day out, because it's very flexible and smooth, and very, very refined on the move as well. I mean, it's only noticeably a diesel in the lowest of gears, which even a Honda can't engineer out what's inherent in the combustion of the engine. Engine then feeds through into clutch and gearbox. Clutch in the car, absolutely perfect. Bite point is exactly where it's meant to be, and it's lovely and smooth in the actuation as well. Gearbox, as always with Honda, it seems, fantastic gearboxes they do in their cars. Not only are they robust and incredibly long lasting, they'll last every bit as long as the engines, but they're just a joy to use. It's not a gearbox you kind of have to use, it's one you will enjoy using, because it's got a lovely gear shift quality. It's got a kind of meaty mechanical action to it, which belies the fact that it, like most front-wheel drive cars, has a gear lever that's joined to the gearbox by cables, and yet other manufacturers seem to manage to give you vague, lifeless gear changes, whereas that's superb and it feels absolutely as new to use. Steering on the car tracks absolutely dead straight. There's no vibrations at all at this speed or any speed up to the legal limit, and it's a lovely power steering system. It's incredibly accurate and precise. Only needs the smallest of movements to go through corners, so when you go into a corner like this, which I'm going to go through, it's a little bit quicker than normal, get to the corner, turn in, one little movement, hardly any, and it just follows beautifully and faithfully through the corner. And its weighting and feel on the road gives it the car feeling, real feeling of security driving the car. Feels really solid on the road. Same goes for the chassis, because the chassis works beautifully together with the steering. It manages to glide through corners. It's an enjoyable car to drive. If you like driving, you'll enjoy the car, because it's got a keenness to change direction where, I mean, there's still, in this day and age, believe it or not, there's still people out there who enjoy driving cars. I'm one of them, and this is a car that ultimately rewards. Being an SR, it gets a little button down here, so I can basically change the settings on the rear suspension. We're currently in comfort mode because it says C on the dashboard there. If I press the button, I'm now in dynamic, so you can feel it much firmer. Normal, so it's kind of halfway between the two, and comfort setting, which works perfectly for me because I'm archaic. But you can feel the difference, and it does work, actually, I have to say. If you're going to enjoy your driving and going a little bit quicker, you may want to go up into normal or dynamic, but for around the lanes, city centres, the comfort setting is absolutely perfect, because it's a very compliant and comfortable ride. There's no nasty noises coming from underneath the car, no knocking, nothing at all. The car feels absolutely as tight as a drum in every single way. Just going to get around the corner. Just go up to speed and give the brakes a bit of a shove as well. I try when I can to do this at the legal limit, so obviously it's working the brakes harder that way. So I'm just going to hold on to a couple of things and give the brakes a good old shove, but basically really good brake pedal on the car. Hard enough to get the hazard lights to come on. Good initial bite. no kind of pulsing or vibrations coming back through the brake pedal at all, so all in very fine order there. It's worth pointing out, by the way, that the brakes, it's all going to be checked anyway. We will be servicing the vehicle, but also the car will be going for an independent MOT, hopefully later today or tomorrow. So all these things will be checked anyway. Coming inside the car, I still maintain, and I say it in the advert, I think this is one of the great interiors. It's just brilliantly done, which I readily admit is opinion, because it's a kind of a Marmite interior. Some people love it, some people don't, but I just think it's superb. First thing you notice straight away, you're getting in a car that's 70-odd thousand miles. It's now 6 years old, and there's not a squeak or a rattle from the interior. They are beautifully, beautifully made cars, but it's also a lovely interior, and in my eyes at least anyway, this fantastic dash design, which I think just incredibly interesting to look at. Even today, years later, it still feels fresh and good to look at, but also it's incredibly practical to look at as well, because it gives you the information you want as you're driving along, but doesn't distract, places the controls in exactly the right places. The most conventional part is this center stack here. So you've just got normal center stack, you've got nice big sat nav working absolutely perfectly, dual zone climate control system, which is obviously different temperatures side to side on the vehicle, and it pumps out absolutely ice cold air, by the way. We checked that in a workshop earlier on. Switch gear quality is absolutely sensational, and the Hondas, the quality of every single button you press is beautifully done. But my favourite part, this two-tier design directly in front. So the upper level is going to give you the information you're going to be looking at most regularly. So information display up there, which you can have different settings if you look at different things. But should you do things like sort of do fan speed or radio, it brings a display up there as well as down here, so you're not having to look down into the car as you're driving along. But the most commonly looked at display of all, of course, is your speed, and there it is, beautifully presented, high up by itself, clear as day. So you can look at your speed without taking your eyes off the road. It is absolute genius. And as I mentioned, it's I think it's the Honda's shame that they've now put it on the 10th generation cars down into the binnacle below, because as much as it is still clear, it's not as clear. I think that's a retrograde step, personally. Down below, obviously you've got 3 dials, nicely presented, big rev counter dominating the middle, flanked by a fuel gauge on the right and temperature gauge on the left. Temperature gauge running at a third, which is exactly where it's meant to be on a Honda vehicle, by the way. So that's all in good order. Steering wheel feels great in hand, thick rimmed, leather bound, perfect dimensions, feels absolutely like new to hold. I mean, it's in lovely, lovely condition in here, I have to say. And as I said at the start of the video, brief as it might well be, just here to show you the car operating, it drives perfectly. Cannot fault it in any way, shape or form. These are wonderful, high quality cars. As always though, if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call.